Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for joining this evening at ISKCON of New Jersey Zoom channel. And today we are very excited and honored to have His Grace Syamananda Prabhu once more on this forum. Um, so I won't go to a lengthy introduction, but Syamananda Prabhu is one of the leaders in our movement. He's served in the capacity of temple president of one of the most famous temples in the world, the ISKCON of Chowpatty. He's also an author. He's traveled all over the world, giving his very inspiring lectures. He's spent so much time translating books, and the list goes on and on. But I will pass it on to Syamananda Prabhu to take us directly into the nectar of the transcendental topics we're going to discuss today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, yesterday I gave a class for the Bhakti Center, and they said that Prabhu, do your Radha Madhav chanting and pranam prayers and everything, and just be ready when you come on the screen. So, I did the same for this Sangha today. So, I will directly dive into our topic. So, when Shadadulal Prabhu suggested, I asked him what could I speak on. So, 10th canto, childhood pastimes was one topic suggested. So, this is one sentence which, when I first read in an old BTG magazine, there was Krishna, baby Krishna, on the Mother Yashoda is carrying him, and the title for the article was "Even on the Lap of His Mother." And a quick Veda-based search, you find that whenever Krishna's childhood pastimes are mentioned, this phrase comes, even on the lap of his mother. Now, childhood pastimes, just like every other pastime, is a ocean of rasa. There is so much of information, there is so much of juice, there is so much of happiness there. So certainly, I don't think I'll be doing justice to the topic, but at the same time, the childhood pastimes have a special attraction about them. Why Krishna does it? How does he do it? So, very briefly, I have about 4 or 5 main points, um, and I hope at the end of the session we actually understand what exactly do we mean by childhood pastimes of the Lord. So I begin with something from a small paragraph from the very small book, Elevation to Krishna Consciousness. Srila Prabhupada is saying here, nowadays it is becoming fashionable for people to claim that they are becoming God by meditation. And I think this must be a commentary on the 60s atmosphere, typical 60s atmosphere that you meditate and you become God, or you perform this particular tapasya or do something and then you become God. Primarily, owing its emergence or its origin to the impersonalists of India who came to the West, and although the West had an idea of a personal God, they insisted on giving the impersonal idea more importance. So we see Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantra, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Prabhupada did not criticize some of the traditional enemies of Hinduism, whether this particular religion or that particular religion, whether conversions or whatever. We don't find that so much. But Prabhupada heavily criticized the impersonalistic idea. And I don't find anyone in contemporary Indian the theology scene who criticizes impersonalism so much, and Prabhupada gives such deep understanding of why this is so dangerous. So Prabhupada said it's actually atheism in disguise. That's why we should worry so much about it. So This particular paragraph from the Elevation to Krishna Consciousness book says that this means that by meditation it is possible to transform oneself into God. In other words, God also meditates, and by his meditation he becomes God. And Srila Prabhupada gives a one-line summary of this whole process. This is all nonsense. God is God, he was always God, and always will be God. And here is this sentence which really caught my fancy. Even as an infant on the lap of his mother, Krishna is God. No meditation was required, no austerity or penance. And Prabhupada talks about when Putana came to give Krishna poison, she came to Yashoda Mai. Oh, Yashoda Mai, you have a very nice baby. Will you kindly give him to me so I can nurse him? And Yashoda, being a very simple village woman, she said, oh, yes, yes, you can take my child. Putana had put poison on her breast and she intended to kill Krishna by letting him suck them. So, this is the demonic spirit. Demons are always wanting to kill Krishna. So, they can say God is dead, there is no God, and God is impersonal. So, Srila Prabhupada keeps these three fanciful notions on a single platform. There is no God, God is dead, or God is impersonal. And therefore, he expects his followers to understand it very clearly, live it in their life, and also propagate. So, previously, the demons would be powerful, they would have the backing of penance, austerity, on the basis of which they would oppose God. Kali Yuga, we don't have that kind of demons. They don't have the power, they don't perform tapasya, but they do have the power of the pen. And in the computer age, as they are called, keyboard warriors. So you take your keyboard and write books or commentaries or e-books or whatever, and that's how you try to kill Krishna. So Krishna was so kind to Putana that he allowed her to nurse him. But when he sucked her breasts, he not only sucked the poison, but along with that, her life as well. She fell to the ground dead and was immediately transformed into her original demonic form. So, again, this sentence comes. So, this is God. In the lap of his mother, he is God. He does not have to become God by meditation, penance, austerity, or by following rules or regulations. He is substantially and eternally God and has nothing to do. If one claims that he can become God by worshipping such and such deity or by meditating, we should immediately take it that he is not a God. Prabhupada's favorite statement is not a God but a dog. In understanding God, we must be careful to accept the Vedic conclusion only. And Prabhupada gives it here, it's from the Upanishad. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. God has nothing to do. Why should God have to do something to become God? If we manufacture gold, that is artificial gold, not real gold. Gold is natural, and similarly, God is natural. In his childhood pastimes, in the lap of his mother, he is God. While he's playing with his boyfriends, he is God. While he's dancing, he is God. While he's fighting at Kurukshetra, he is God. While he's married to his queens, he is God. While he's speaking, he is God. There is no difficulty in understanding God. All that is required of us is that we listen to Krishna. So that's the mood, that's the modus operandi, as they say. Now, many people, especially coming uh, from the West or having a bent towards the Western mode of education, that isn't God supposed to be the boss, the uh, supreme being? And what is this idea of God having parents? So, we will now go into another book. This is the Oh, this is a conversation. It's a Bhagavatam class. So I have given it a title. How does this idea of on even on the lap of his mother, how does it grow? I mean, what is the genesis of feeling that God is my son or I am God's parent? It's very deep and it's very sweet also. So let's go into that topic. So how does Vatsalya grow? Vatsalya is the conception, or it becomes a reality once you enter into it, that God is my dependent. I am God's guardian. So let us see what Prabhupada says here. Just like in Vaishnava philosophy, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. The first, when you have come to the Brahma Bhuta stage, that is called Shanta. Oh, God is everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. Is it like a instant understanding? No way. After many, many births, when one comes to the conclusion that person is a Mahatma and is described as a great broad-minded person, Mahatma, Sudurlabha, very rare to find. So if Shanta stage is very rare to find, you can imagine as the stages grow more and more deeper, they are not so easy to find. So Prabhupada says here, Shanta, Mahatma, great soul. From the Shanta stage, the development is Dasya stage, to serve Krishna. Not simply appreciating, oh, God is great, God is great. Not so much. Simply appreciation. I must give some service to God. That is the next stage. So that is called the stage of being a servitor. Dasya. Das, servant. Dasya, the stage of relishing Dasya Ras. Now Prabhupada talks about the stage which we are discussing today. The next stage is, oh, there is Sakya Ras, to give service to God just like Arjun. So Arjun is a friend, that is Sakya. Now comes the stage which we are discussing. Then Vatsalya Ras, to give service to Krishna just like Mother Yashoda. She has become mother. Mother always gives service to the baby, her child, and Krishna is passing his childhood pastime before Mother Yashoda. So what does it mean that suddenly God, the Almighty God, creator of all, these are the prayers which we understand as to chant these prayers in my school, that we began with this eternal God, creator of all. Here, instead of God giving you something and you're always spreading your hands before God, asking Him for money, for education, for protection from disease or from calamities or from enemies, the situation becomes reversed. Mother Yashoda is always thinking, Krishna is hungry. Oh, Krishna is getting skinny. I must feed him. I must protect him from the monkeys. I must protect him from fire. Always anxious how to give protection to Krishna. Prabhupada balances these points here. Krishna is giving protection to everyone, but the devotee has become so great that Krishna is taking his protection. Just imagine, I mean, actually, we can't imagine that kind of love where instead of, it is natural. In fact, uh, in today's times, God is simply out of the equation. The moment uh, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was discussing something, and we came to this point that just like in the eighth canto, we see the demons and demigods fighting. The demons internally also they have so many groups and so many different opinions. It's not like they are one homogeneous group. They never, almost never agree on anything. What causes unity among the demons? Like there is an assembly discussing evolution, there is an assembly discussing climate change, there is an assembly discussing economic growth. It's like they are all having diverse opinions. But let one Vaishnava enter the room and say that you're having problems because you're not Krishna conscious. Oh, they are all united. Kick this guy out. Why bring God in the equation? How did evolution take place? There are paleobotanists, there are archaeologists, there are biological evolutionists. They have so many classifications among them. But if one Vaishnava scientist enters the assembly and says, my dear sirs, this is not exactly how this has happened. There is a hand of Krishna involved. They all become one. For example, for churning churning the ocean for nectar, the demons all became one. The moment they got the nectar, at least they saw Dhanvantari with the nectar, again fighting erupted. So similarly, we find that the moment you bring God in the equation, it is like a sin, a cardinal sin to even mention God. So we have to preach in this atmosphere, and we have to be convinced ourselves that there is such a thing where God becomes subservient. How and what can make God subservient? So we move further. That is, how do we do it? So, third canto, second chapter, 29th verse in the purport Prabhupada says, if anyone wants to enjoy this Bala Leela, Bala is childhood, Leela, pastimes, then you have to follow in the footsteps of the residents of Braja like Nanda, Upananda, and other parental inhabitants. Now, what does Krishna do as a child? See how nicely Prabhupada explains here. A child may insist on having something and cry like anything to get it, disturbing the whole neighborhood. And then immediately after achieving the desired result, he starts laughing. Such crying and laughing is enjoyable to the parents and elderly members of the family. So Krishna would simultaneously cry and laugh in this way and merge his devotee parents in the humor of transcendental pleasure. These incidents are enjoyable not only by the residents of Braja like Nanda Maharaj and not by the impersonalist worshippers of Brahman or Paramatma. Sometimes, when attacked in the forest by demons, Krishna would appear struck with wonder, but he looked on them like the cub of a lion and killed them. So his childhood companions would also be struck with wonder, and when they came back home, they would narrate the story to their parents, and everyone would appreciate the qualities of their Krishna. Now, a very important statement. Child Krishna did not belong only to his parents Nanda and Yashoda. He was the son of all the elderly inhabitants of Vrindavan and the friend of all contemporary boys and girls. Everyone loved Krishna. He was the life and soul of everyone, including the animals, the cows, and the calves. So, when Krishna performs a particular pastime or Krishna relishes a particular pastime, it is, our acharyas say, it is complete. It's not like for some part of the day Krishna feels, hey, actually I'm God. I don't need to do this stealing and mischievous activities. Or the devotees also relishing don't feel that, oh, actually I know he's God, but I'm just treating him like a son. That would spoil the entire thing. When Krishna is uh, appreciating or relishing Vatsalya Ras, the childhood pastime, he's completely dependent upon his parents. Let us meditate upon one particular pastime, that is, it is early morning and Mother Yashoda had just woken up Krishna. So Krishna looks like a normal boy who had just had 8 or 9 or 10 hours of sleep. In the reality, however, Krishna had just come from a whole night of dancing and singing with the gopis. But that is another Leela. Here he is just like a son, and Mother Yashoda gently wakes him up and says, "Now it's time to take your bath." She gives him his bath, and now she's decorating him. She wants to feed him, give him his lunch packet. So while Krishna is being decorated, Mother Yashoda looks at him. Oh, I should put on this particular golden ornament on his waist. I would put some ankle bells. I would like to put some necklace. And the last part is tying up his turban. While Krishna is being, now you know that if your child is moving his head here and there, you can't put the turban properly. So she says, please stay steady. And that is a time when 2 or 3 of his friends, they, with their head stuck like that, they try to look whether Krishna is ready. And as Mother Yashoda sees them, she says, "Oh Jwal, oh Subal, please come, please come." While Mother Yashoda is putting on the finishing touches on Krishna's decoration, Krishna is pulling the shikha of one of his friends. He's pinching someone. And she says, "Please be steady. Why can't you be steady?" So this is the perennial complaint of every mother. Oh, my boy is so restless. Krishna is supremely restless. Now the decorations are done. She gives him his lunch packet, gives him his stick, and now comes one of the most heartbreaking scenes in Yashodamai's life, to see Krishna go away. So all the calves are let loose, they all merge. Every boy has brought his group of calves and they are put together. And as some of the boys start playing the flute, some are singing, some are dancing, they are so happy. Now in this Bal Leela, the most heartbreaking thing for them is to bring the calves back home and then feel separation from Krishna. So when their mothers say, sleep well, tomorrow morning Krishna is there for you, don't worry. So this one hope that let this night get over and we can see Krishna again. So they are very happy. So happiness for the boys is heartbreaking, really pitiable condition of Mother Yashoda's heart. Even the gopis, when they see Krishna coming in the evening, they are happy. And now they are seeing Krishna go away. So these calves, hundreds and thousands of them, the sakhas, hundreds and thousands of them, they are leaving. As they go, there's a cloud of dust raised in Braj. Mother Yashoda and the gopis, then they go to that part of their house called the Chandra Shalika. Chandra Shalika is like a raised uh, room, sort of small room, but it is made on the terrace of a particular mansion because you can get a bird's eye view of everything. Now the boys and the calves are going so farther and farther away that's only the dust cloud remains. Slowly that cloud also starts to settle. Now there is no sign of cows, calves, or Krishna or his friends. Now Yashoda Mai and her assistants and the gopis, they say that now is a whole full day of separation. Now let us do some household chores. We have to do something just to so that you can wait for Krishna to come back. Now these boys, when they come in the forest area, they are not happy with Mother Yashoda's decoration. They say, there's too much of jewelry and too much of metals clanking. Now they start decorating Krishna with gunjas, those small red seeds found in Vrindavan, red oxide. I'm always amused, Prabhupada translation of the soil of Braja as red oxide. Actually, Braja has multicolored soil. So they would take some green, some yellow, some blue, and they would start decorating Krishna. They would take flowers, twigs, newly grown leaves. So there is one decoration at home which they are not happy with, and there is another. And then a whole day of playing tricks, jumping, singing, dancing. Srila Prabhupada told once that somebody asked him, "What are you thinking of now, Prabhupada?" Maybe they thought Prabhupada was in a bit of a pensive mood or deep in thought. And Prabhupada said, "I'm just meditating on what Mother Yashoda has given today in Krishna's lunch packet." Wow, can you imagine? This is, and Prabhupada was not someone who would flaunt or who would tell his followers, how special he is or how great he is. No, it was just like a casual question, and pop comes Prabhupada's answer about meditating on this Bala Leela. So, as I have said, when Krishna is a child, he has to be the perfect embodiment of what a small child does. And once, when Krishna showed his universal form uh, to Mother Yashoda, she became so disturbed, Krishna had to take it away. Now, can you imagine? There are meditators, there are tapasvis, those who do austerities, what they would not give to get a glimpse of that form. And here in Vrindavan, we have devotees who are cursing themselves as to why did I see this form, or what exactly am I really the queen of Vrindavan? Is Nanda Maharaj my husband? Is Krishna my son? I'm really doubtful. So Krishna decides, oh, I have tortured her enough. And he removes that covering. She sees Krishna. She says, oh, I must be dreaming. He's my son. That's all. So we will come to the last part of our discussion. I have just taken one single activity, that is eating. And this is also from Srimad Bhagavatam purport. So Krishna is Yajna Bhuk, that is, he eats only offerings of Yajna. But to exhibit his childhood pastimes, he now sat with his flute tucked between his waist and his tight cloth on his right side, with his horn bugle and cow driving stick on his left. The Srimad Bhagavatam says that anyone wishing to relish Krishna's pastimes, these are the objects of meditation. So the paraphernalia for Krishna's childhood pastimes is his flute, which is tucked between his waist and his tight cloth, horn bugle, and cow driving stick on his left. Holding in his hand a very nice preparation of yogurt and rice, with pieces of suitable fruit between his fingers, he sat like the whorl of a lotus flower, looking forward toward all his friends, personally joking with them, and creating jubilant laughter among them as he ate. So, Lord Brahma is a secondary creator. He meditated for 100 celestial years on just who am I? What am I supposed to do? As soon as he was created, he asked, hey, anyone there? Can someone tell me who am I? No answer. He looked here, he looked there, he looked hither, thither, up, down, everywhere. And then 3 times he heard the syllables tapa. Twice he heard the syllables tapa, tapa. He's intelligent. He understood. There is someone out there who's telling me that you have to perform austerities. Now, that someone out there is not his personal servant or someone who can attend to his needs. The way in which it was told, it was very clear. It is a boss saying, This is the authority who is telling you to perform tapasya. Diligently he performs that tapasya. Krishna's flute, that flute sound initiates him. He becomes a dvija. He becomes a person with knowledge. So Brahma was initiated as a dvija by the sound of Krishna's flute. We sing the Brahma Samhita. And that Brahma, when he was told that Parabrahman, which you have heard sometimes, is now playing in the forest of Vrindavan like a small child. And his first reaction was, not possible. Really? Why would he do that? So, this particular episode where Krishna was eating with his friends, uh, I'll give a brief background. As the as Krishna and his sakhas they leave Vrindavan and they enter into the forest, chapter 12 of Krishna book has so much of a vivid description of the tricks, the games they would play, and they would become tired. And in fact, Vishwanath Chakravarti says a demon would enter Vrindavan just in half an hour or hour before lunchtime. Just see how everything is stage managed. After killing that demon, Krishna and his friends would relish, they would see the adventure, they would sing about it, but most importantly, they would become hungry. Natural. If you go through a uh, episode of like doing too much work or whatever, you are stressed, you feel hungry. One of the favorite things which Krishna's friends would do is they would open their lunch bag and say, Krishna, previously you said you like those laddus. My mother has prepared the very same laddus for you today. Somebody would say, this particular sweet is exquisite. It is so nice. It is so nice. Just see the mood. They brought with them specially made items only to satisfy Krishna. In one situation, Lord Brahma actually came down to see what could be the reason that this Parabrahman has become like a child. I don't really feel it's like that. Some say, but I need to find out for myself. So that was a time when a boy was offering Krishna rice, yogurt with dry fruits, and he was saying, Krishna, please eat this. So he says, you eat this. He says, no, it is for you. So Krishna made that boy eat. That boy also fed Krishna. And while their mouths were filled with yogurt and rice, Krishna slapped tightly on the two cheeks, and the boy, he just, all that yogurt rice in his mouth just sprayed on Krishna's body. And he did the same thing to Krishna. And they were giggling and laughing. So was eating a source of pleasure, or this kind of playing tricks was a source of pleasure? It was all meant to confuse Brahma. He saw that, and with his four heads, with his supreme intelligence, he has the best intelligence. I mean, his IQ, there is no supercomputer which can record his IQ. But he tripped. Intellectually, he tripped. He said, this can't be the Parabrahman. So a small, it's like a fuse, and the light goes off. So that small fuse of seeing Krishna's mischievous childhood pastimes, Brahma said, let me test. Oh, when you say, let me test, then it's a whole kind of a quadratic equation. The first step, there's a mistake. You simply go on compounding the mistake. So Brahma then stole the boys, kidnapped them, put them in a cave, went to see again what would happen to Krishna. But he saw again Krishna with the same friends, exactly the same number of friends and calves. So he was thinking, what did I do wrong? So he came back. He found the caves intact. The stone on the at the mouth of the cave was intact. All Krishna's friends and calves were sleeping inside by Brahma's mystic potency. He came out. He saw Krishna again playing with his friends and calves. He again went back. His mental computer went into a hang mode. He could not finish. I mean, when a computer hangs, it cannot finish two tasks. It is simply confused. Of course, it's a machine, it can't be confused, but it can't do anything. It's like you tell somebody, perform task A. They said, okay. But to perform task A, B has to be completed. But in order to complete B, A has to be completed. You are nowhere. So whether these are real, of course, I kidnapped them. They have to be real. Oh, no, 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 no. These are the ones who are dancing and saying they appear real. So Brahma's conclusion is, some people may say they know about this material world. Some may say they know everything about this material world. As far as I am concerned, I know one thing for sure. I know nothing. This is my Lord. My mystic power is like a candle compared to your, which is like the unlimited sun. So, of course, then we see how Brahma, the correct expiation or the correct prayashchitta for his activity is to perennially, eternally stay in Braj. And Brahma is one of the four uh, mountains, small hillocks in Barsana, and he wants the lotus feet of the dust of the lotus feet of everyone who comes to take darshan. So these childhood pastimes, I'll end with this last quotation from Satyavrat Muni. Very soon we will be having Kartik Mass celebrations and we'll sing the Damodar Ashtakam. Iti triksva lila bir ananda kunde swagosham nimajjantam akhyapayantam. With childhood pastimes like these, Krishna is actually dunking his, catching every devotee by the neck and submerging him in a lake of nectar. So uh, I will end here. I'll just repeat, I'll just recollect what we did. We began with who is God, the fantastic notion that somebody can become God by meditation. Prabhupada said it's not possible. God is God. Whether God is having his childhood pastime, the lap of his mother, he's playing with his friends, dancing, singing, fighting, married to his queens, speaking. There is no difficulty in understanding God. All that is required is we listen to Krishna. Uh, Ishopanishad also says that the killing of various demons such as Aga, Baka, Putana were just pleasurable excursions for him. The Lord created his pastimes specifically, the just see Prabhupada's words here, to attract the dry speculators and the acrobats of the so-called Hatha Yoga system who wish to find the absolute truth. How does the Vatsalya Bhav grow? Prabhupada explains from Shanta, and Shanta itself is the Brahma Bhuta platform, and that takes so many births. After that is being a servant. After that, acting like a friend. And after that is Vatsalya. Vatsalya, God doesn't behave like God. The devotee thinks God is hungry. Krishna is getting skinny. I must feed him. I must protect him from the monkeys. I must protect him from the fire. So this anxiety actually is a ornament of relishing Krishna's childhood pastimes. And then third canto, second chapter, 29th verse, we found how Prabhupada said, if you want to enjoy the childhood pastimes, you have to follow in the footsteps of residents of Braja like Nanda, Upananda, and all those who have parental affection. Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami cautions that one technically cannot become Nanda and Yashoda. That post is already taken. One can become a assistant of Nanda and Yashoda. So Krishna gave that position even to Putana. Putana was, in her previous existence, the daughter of King Bali. She saw Vaman Dev. Motherly affection came in her heart. How I wish I can have a son like that. The son then cheated her brother of everything. He became Trivikram. And now the thought came that I should kill him if I get a chance. Now, how does one keep two completely opposing thoughts? Motherly affection and like an assassin, the desire to murder. Krishna has all the arrangements. She is now Putana. She comes to kill Krishna. Krishna sucks the poison, sucks her life air. Along with that, the third thing, that is her sinful mindset. So, what remains is only the mindset of a mother. And therefore, he gives her the position of Dhatri Uchitam Tato Anyam. He gives the position of an assistant to Mother Yashoda. So, this was a very tiny bit of uh, relishing of Krishna's childhood pastimes. Uh, I would beg forgiveness if I have gone beyond my realization. I don't have any. I'm just trying to parrot whatever I read from Srimad Bhagavatam. So, any questions, comments, or corrections? Most welcome.
Thank you very much, Syamananda Prabhu. We have I believe, Apurva Prabhu Malakamalini have a question or a comment. I see their hand is up. Apurva Prabhu Malakamalini. Just if anybody else has any questions, we're trying to get Apurva Prabhu to unmute. Okay, it looks like they're not able to connect. Vijay Krishna Prabhu also has a question. Go ahead, Vijay Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My question is related to Lord Krishna coming to this material world. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Go on.
Yes. My question is related to Lord Krishna coming to this material world to exhibit his pastimes.
Yes.
In order to erase all doubts present in the minds of the conditioned souls related to who God is.
Yes.
So people find it difficult. In my preaching, what I find is that people find it difficult to believe that God is a small boy who lifts a mountain with his left pinky finger. My question is, is it that to tell them about the universal form of Lord Krishna becomes more helpful in order to convince them about who God really is?
Okay, your question is, should you begin with the universal form? Well, the Bhagavatam begins like that. First canto, 19th chapter, it ends with Parikshit Maharaj asking questions. Second canto begins with Shukadeva Goswami answering him. And what does he do? The very first thing he explains to Parikshit Maharaj is about the universal form. So, why does he do that? Who are the people sitting in front of him? First is his own father, Vyasa Muni. His father's spiritual master, Narada Muni. And then the whole list of the who's who, the celebrities of big rishis and munis. But as Shukadeva Goswami looks at the greater gathering behind them, he finds most of them are Gyanis, Munis, Tapasvis, those who are pursuing knowledge, those who are deep meditators, those who are performing austerities. So if he tells them the essence of everything is to just understand Krishna and just chant his glories, many of them would just leave saying that, oh my, we came here to hear some big, lofty philosophical description, and here he is, you know, doing something like how Prakashanand Saraswati discounted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's just a bhavuka. He's just a sentimentalist. So that is the number one allegation against devotee bhakti science, that it is just sentimentalism. Out of compassion, the Vaishnava Acharyas, they make things in such a way so that these people also can be accommodated. So therefore, when you read second canto, you will understand. First, there is a description of Virat Roop. Virat means Mahato Mahiyan, bigger than the biggest. And immediately it is followed by smaller than the smallest, how he is a super soul. Now, once he has done that, Shukdev Goswami doesn't visit that thing again. He has already given these people who are thinkers enough material to understand. Whom are we talking about? Somebody who can become bigger than the biggest. Somebody can immediately become smaller than the smallest. Oh, that's real mystic power. So 1 to 9 cantos, when you understand Krishna realization, only then you can enter into the pastimes. Of course, sometimes we don't have so much of a time. So you have to use your diligence, you have to use your intelligence, pray to Krishna as to, if somebody finds the pastimes of Krishna as a baby boy or as a blue covered boy, they are not able to digest that, then we have other things which emphasize on God's greatness. Yeah, that can be done.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was the answer I needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Syamananda Prabhu, I have also a question. You had mentioned, Srila Prabhupada said, if you want to serve Krishna in the parental flavor of affection, then it is possible, where we can be promoted or to one of the assistants, to Mother Yashoda or Nanda Maharaj, or something along those lines, where we join the ranks of other devotees who are serving in that affection. So the question is, what is implied in that statement of Srila Prabhupada is that our inclination and desire does come into play in where we end up in our eternal service. So then the question is that in my current fairly conditioned level of understanding and practicing Krishna consciousness, is there any real or any significant value to my current inclinations of different types of flavors or rasas? If I feel that it'll be really good if I was one of Krishna's coward boys, goes to picnic with him, or if I am inclined towards seeing him as a baby and serving him as like the father or mother, is there any real value to those kind of inclination at such a basic or preliminary level of our practice?
Well, our acharyas have simply nothing but caution for this kind of a notion, that when you are not fully cleared of the influence of the three modes, at that particular stage, meditating on something which is the prerogative of those who are already pure is, uh, at the least, it may cause confusion. At worst, it may successfully derail your whole mission. For example, I don't know how far this is true, but many devotees have said it. It happened in the 70s. A devotee was seen walking like a peacock in his room, and somebody said, "Hey, what gives?" So he said that, well, one has to meditate upon a particular inhabitant of the spiritual world, and I think that I am a peacock, so I'm just practicing that. Now, about prematurely practicing the raga marga, or the path of attachment, our Gorkishore Babaji Maharaj gave an example that a couple were married, and The woman, she conceived, and after 9 months of pregnancy, there was a time of the delivery of the baby, and there is labor pain. So she was shrieking like anything, howling in pain. And there was another woman who was her competitor, and she was very jealous that, oh, this woman has become a mother now, so everybody will be giving her attention. So she also tied up some cloth around her waist and started telling that I'm also pregnant, I'm also pregnant. The moment this other woman heard that this woman is going to give birth, she started shouting. So now both women are howling in pain. But Gaur Kushal Babaji Maharaj says, delivery will be only in one case, isn't it? Although a, a person who is imitating can exactly shout and howl like how a mother experiences pain, but there is no result. There has to be an end result of your sadhana. So if your sadhana is to uh, concentrate on providing milk to Krishna or participating in the holy color pastimes of Krishna, there has to be some joy in your heart. In the Indian context, Prabhupada would say there are Ram Leela performers who perform like Ram, Bharat, Lakshman, and after the performance is over, we see them smoking bidis or somebody singing for 2 hours. Hey, Radhe, 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 Radhe. And then again, they need a bidi just to make them settle down. So this is very contrary to what our acharyas say, that in fact, just like among the Sahajiyas, there is a rush towards prematurely thinking about spiritual life and pastimes. There is a exactly opposite understanding among the Vaishnava acharyas, that I am bereft of anything. I don't have any adhikar, I don't have any right to enjoy that. I need to rot in this material world for millions of lifetimes according to my karma, but I need to serve you or your devotees in some small way, anyhow, but I need some service. My personal gratification, my personal happiness can wait. So the divergence is not just a little bit, it is like polarity. There is a pole apart understanding of how to relish spiritual pastimes.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. I really appreciate that point, and especially the last point you made, that it is not just slightly different, but it is actually diametrically opposed and categorically different.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. I think it definitely sets things straight, especially when we have these sort of inclinations. Hare Krishna. Does anyone else have any comments or questions at this point? Yashoda Dulal Prabhu has one. Go ahead, Yashoda Dulal Prabhu.
Thank you, Syamananda Prabhu. Very juicy and relishable. I was meditating on, Krishna's demon killing pastimes are
Yeah.
frequently narrated. And, I wonder if sometimes people might feel, especially if they are newer to bhakti, like, hey, like, doesn't this seem very brutal? Like, why is God going around killing so many demons? That like this demon's killed. In fact, um, there's a description that there is a demon killed every single day. Only some of the demons are mentioned in Bhagavatam, but there's a demon killed every single day before lunchtime. Um, and so the other day when I was reading Bhagavatam, this verse and purport came into my reading, which kind of answers that. So it's more of a comment where it's Bhagavatam 10.36.15. So 36 chapter 10th canto 15th verse. Um, the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Lord Krishna is as hard as a thunderbolt or as soft as a rose, depending on our attitude toward him. The demon Arishta wanted to kill Krishna and all his friends, so the Lord beat him into a wet rag and killed him. The gopis, however, loved Krishna, and thus the Lord boyishly reciprocated their conjugal feelings.
Yeah. No, so what was your point? That
No, just a comment that
okay.
devotees, I mean, especially newer people might think, or even practicing devotees, like, wow, there's a lot of like brutal stuff that's mentioned in connection with Krishna's pastimes. But this verse actually answers why. Krishna reciprocates with us exactly how we approach him.
Exactly. Thank you for that comment. There is one chat question here?
There's one comment from Guru Das Prabhu. Guru Das Prabhu says, "Your very nice talk reminds me of how Prabhupada Lilamrit describes how Srila Prabhupada allowed his devotees to enter the beginnings of Vatsalya Ras when he manifested symptoms of illness and needed to recover by traveling to the seashore, and devotees worried about every aspect of his care and recovery." He's just
Yes.
reflecting on that sweet pastime. Thank you, Guru Das Prabhu. So I think we're pretty much close to the end of the class. I have a couple of announcements to make, unless anyone has any last second questions. But I think everyone is reeling from the sweetness of today's class, and combined with the depth of the philosophy that accompanies it, is very nourishing. And on behalf of all the devotees, I would like to thank you. I'd like to thank His Holiness Jai Advaita Swami Maharaj, who has also graced us with his presence. Hare Krishna Maharaj. And of course, I'd like to thank all the devotees who took out their time and joined for tonight's session. So I'm just going to make a couple of quick announcements of the upcoming sessions. As you know, we've been having this series, a 10-part series called the Pathways to Perfection. So I'm just going to share my screen once it comes up. The Pathways to Perfection series is a very nice program put together by the Bhakti Center. Let me see if I can share the screen. And this is happening on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So we'll be continuing this on this Saturday, which is October 10th. And Hari Parshad Prabhu will be speaking on the topic of Pada Sevanam. And the following week, we'll have Gauranga Prabhu on Archanam and so on. So we have quite a wonderful slate of speakers. So please do join us, tinyurl.com/Bhakti Center, sponsored by Bhakti Center and co-hosted by our temples in New Jersey, New York, Richmond, and Gitanagri. And we'll continue on this channel every night, pretty much every night at 8 p.m., except for Saturdays. So our next program is going to be tomorrow, which is Friday evening. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we'll continue the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam by His Holiness Jai Advaita Swami Maharaj. It's a very interactive and very lively session, so please join for that. And on Sunday evening, we have His Grace Radhika Raman Prabhu. So thank you very much. And I'd like to request our temple president, Neil Mani Prabhu, to offer a first word of thanks. If His Holiness Jai Advaita Swami Maharaj has anything to say, Maharaj, if you'd like, please go ahead as well.
Hare Krishna, Syamananda Prabhu. So nice to see you and hear from you again. It was a wonderful class, very sweet, very nectarian. Thank you so much for joining us. And we hope to see you on Zoom Sangha, but even more so, we hope to see you in person again in America sometime soon. So, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I will not forget that promise I gave you, New Vrindavan. So
yes, I haven't forgotten. So
let's hope when
we're wondering why you haven't fulfilled your promise and shown up to Towaco yet. So thank you for remembering, Prabhu.
Hopefully, when these things settle down, we can have Syamananda Prabhu here in person in Towaco. And maybe also, when we'll hopefully we'll be building this new temple. We have completed this new temple by next year, at least the first phase, and we'll be operating from there. So Syamananda Prabhu, please give us your blessings, and that we can also come here and speak at our new location.
I will. Thank you so much.
And Maharaj is also here, and Maharaj has been.
Thank you, Syamananda Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Good, clean fun.
Hare Krishna. And if anybody else would like, you can please go ahead, unmute yourself, and we'll leave the channel open for another, few seconds that you can come in and thank Prabhu personally. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you. Very nice
Prabhu.
class.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Very good class.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Very focused class.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. Very nice class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
thank you.
Thank you so much. It was awesome.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you.
you.
From Chalpati.
Jai.
All glories to Radha Swami.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Syamananda Prabhu,
Can you
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Prabhu, thank you for your wonderful presentation and my deepest respects from Portugal.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hari Bol.
Syamananda Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Anande.
Radhe Radhe.
Okay, thank you.